Oh no, the bull market's over again. Just kidding, the bull market is not over. What the hell is going on? Where's Bitcoin headed to next? Now, we did break two key levels. 86.5 and 86, that's gone. 84 seemingly looks like it potentially could be gone. So how are we navigating the markets and how are we looking to make money? Are we looking to short? Are we looking to long? We'll talk about that. Also, we have some insight into the Paul Atkins hearing, the new incoming SEC chair. And of course, we have a snippet from none other than Robin's favorite senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren from the great state of Massachusetts. What does she have to say? And what is Paul Atkins' vision for the SEC and crypto moving forward once he gets confirmed? We have some altcoin news, big news coming out of AVAX, big news coming out of Chainlink, and big news potentially coming out of Cosmos. Is it enough to revive that chain and to revive excitement in that ecosystem? We have that and much, much more in today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Ethereum is Dead Crypto, down to $1,873, bleeding against Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency show where we take old, boring, and stale information and repackage that thing up in a fun, sexy entertainment. We throw some price predictions in there, kind of way. Big shout out to Elvis. We do what Vegas does best. We roll out the strippers.
Big shit out to Elvis, huh? Big shit out.
It's a shout out.
That shit out.
Shout out.
It's like your intro was shit.
You know what?
You just can't help yourself, can you?
What? Was there something different about my intro?
No, everything was great.
Okay, for sure.
It was great. It was really good. It was really good. Oh man, what a morning, huh? I
will say, I'm surprised that I was surprised. I saw Bitcoin go down to 85,000 last night, and I saw all the altcoins melting. I'm like, bro, Bitcoin's down like 1.5%, maybe 2%, depending on the timeline. And altcoins just self-destructed. I mean, I don't want to say it. Maybe that's an overreach on the word, but it was interesting to see how big of a pullback we got out of the major alts. I mean, you had a 10% pullback on XRP, right? It's interesting. Also, Ethereum, not to be funny, but it had a pretty big pullback, a lot more than Bitcoin. So
this chart tells all, my friend. Bitcoin dominance continues to rise, something we typically see in bear markets. It's at 62%. When has Bitcoin dominance in a bull market ever been at 62%? Very strange. It's a very strange. Now, I'm not saying that means we're in a bear market. I don't think we're in a bear market. But you're seeing, if you kind of follow the trend or you try to take information and figure out, what does this tell me? What are the markets and the traders trying to tell me? And what they're trying to tell you is there is a flight to quality happening. And we talk about that all the time. After the meme coin blow up, I think people got sick and tired. They're like, look, I don't care if it takes me 4 years. I'll rather have my money in Cardano than a potential new meme coin that can 50x. I'd rather have my money in Avalanche or XLM or XRP, maybe not Ethereum yet, or Bitcoin more specifically. And so we're kind of seeing that now. Bitcoin dominance is rising. You're seeing some of the other altcoins, the solid ones. I mentioned we're going to talk about Chainlink today. You know what? Since I brought up Chainlink, and I'm not going to get into the news, but I just want to see how Chainlink has been performing. Chainlink's down 10% on the daily, okay? Red dot on market cipher B. And so, but for Chainlink, $12.54, that's the immediate level of resist or support, and I'll be more than happy to long Chainlink there at $12.50. But you see solid projects like this, and I think these are going to be the ones that bounce back the quickest. But we talk about, at least me on my trading show, I've talked about the scenario of this kind of rising channel in BTC and how I expect it to break down, but also that any piece of news can invalidate this trend, this pattern, and it looks like it hasn't. Now, we did lose two key levels. The first one was 86.5. I was like, all right, fine, we're going to get a bounce at 84. We did not get a bounce at 84. On the 1 hour, you see, we're attempting a retest. Now, We've closed 2 candles below 84.1. I am looking to short BTC at 84.1. And I'm gonna put my stop loss right above 84.5. Because if we break above 84.5, depending on volume, then that trade is invalidated. But I really think this is going to be a failed retest of 84.1, and we're going to trend back down to that 82.5, maybe $82,000 level. That is kind of the setup I'm looking at to try to make some money on this downturn. Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts how things have played out this morning?
Well, I would say that the correlation to the NASDAQ has continued. You saw the NASDAQ down over 2%. And so we saw that big rally in the NASDAQ.
NASDAQ, by the way.
Yeah, we saw the big rally in the NASDAQ earlier this week, which coincided with the Bitcoin rally. We also saw, well, today is a pretty damn red day in Wall Street. I mean, you got the NASDAQ down 2.73%.
Big number.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, you look at you look at the 5 days here, you can see what has happened, why there's a correlation. Obviously there's a lot of tech going on in NASDAQ, right? It's indices that represent a lot of tech in there, man. And obviously, the blockchain space is, future of money in a digital and tech friendly kind of way. So,
we take the old boring stale tech companies.
That's right. So it's been interesting, man. I mean, it's an interesting day. I want to know. I want to know kind of where, what the chat thinks, because I wanted to ask you, David, when you get a second, if you could pull up the RWA leaderboards on which layer ones have the market share. I know you've pulled that up a few times. I know Ethereum's there at the top, but I wanted to talk to the audience here, but also kind of get your opinion. Is it possible that we get no altcoin cycle if Bitcoin still gets up to, like, say, 200,000? And when I say no altcoin cycle, I don't mean that every single altcoin will not break new all-time highs. I'm not going that direction, but I started thinking, I'm like, what if it is only driven by institutions? And what is institutions really using crypto for outside of Bitcoin for store of value is probably RWAs. I mean, institutions aren't really using crypto for DeFi, right?
I would argue they will be. I can argue they will be. I really can.
For DeFi?
Yes.
Yeah, DeFi is coming, but it's definitely not going to be the major.
No, RWA is number one.
Yeah. And so I think that you could prepare yourself for a situation where here you have a failure to launch an altcoin market, right? Where, this altcoin bull market doesn't take off like we think it is. But that's off the back of retail, right? Because 2017, 2021, those were years where the regular individuals, people like me and you, were buying lots of altcoins. The economy was a little different. And in doing so, we pumped these coins up. But if retail doesn't come in, because they haven't come in yet, right? You could argue.
Retail is broke, bro.
Yeah.
Retail is, I mean, you look across
I was going to say the crypto degens are excited to get back in, right? Like me and you, we're excited. We're fine. We got no problem buying altcoins. But the individuals.
We're almost out of money, dog.
Yeah, we are almost out of money. But the individuals that are not, that don't have experience in crypto aren't all of a sudden coming in and buying crypto. We aren't onboarding new retail right now.
They're broke. Yeah. They're literally broke. You look across every single consumer metric: credit card delinquency, car payment delinquency, mortgage delinquency, credit card debt. Everything is telling you retail is broke.
Dude, I had a friend. I went to culinary school. They got an apartment out here, and $1,400, 1 bedroom, ghetto.
I believe it.
I mean, it wasn't ghetto, but it was definitely like. I mean, maybe one step up outside of, the rough areas, like the outskirts of the suburbs. It's like $1,400 and just 1 bedroom, tiny apartment. And I'm like, how on God's earth are you going to make $1,400 a month with
just rent. That doesn't include groceries, utility bills, your car, gas.
and that person's making like $20 an hour. I'm just like doing the math.
I'm
here.
saying, bro, like, I think
so just where I was gonna get at. I have a feeling that if retail doesn't come in ever, or at least this bull market, maybe that list there represents what's going to rally this year.
okay. So I think this is an important conversation. Okay, and I want to continue, but first, before I forget, I want to give a big thank you. Today's show is brought to you by a channel sponsor, Stake, and Stake.us, where you can play some of your favorite games, including table games, baccarat, poker. You know, they have sit and go tournaments. They used to have them in the casinos. But driving down there and sitting down and busting out in the first 2 minutes because you went all in with 7 deuce offsuit, not very fun. It's more fun when you do it through your phone or your computer.
Dude, I was watching some people play was it the Plinko?
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Dude, man, there's a lot of Plinko reaction videos. Have you seen those?
I have not.
Dude, there's like,
You can play Plinko.
they drop like 20 balls, and then where the last ones land is where you get the multipliers. And so you'd see people like all of a sudden like make like $5 million.
What?
Yeah, off of Plinko. And those are like bonus. You get like bonus points to play Plinko.
Well, you can play Plinko on stake.us. There's a link in the description. Make sure to go sign up. Support our sponsors that support this channel.
Support us.
Yeah.
Go sign up. Go check it out. Do us a favor. Go check it out. If you're not familiar with it, just
I think a lot of people are
open up an account.
I think a lot of people are worried, like, is it actual money? Well, you earn the stake cash for free, and then you can just redeem it for crypto.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Yeah, you don't even have to go to cash. You can just hang out in crypto all day.
You know, so in the spirit of gambling, right? The whole gambling, you know, we're in Vegas and gambling. You're gambling if you don't have exposure to RWA, or as Rob said, kind of institutional focused plays. So the question then becomes, what are you changing your game plan? Are you looking at things like the top stablecoin DeFi protocols that are maybe institution led, like Athena, like Asymmetry Finance, like Curve, like Convex? And are you looking at RWA? And how are you adjusting? Because if retail is not coming, does that mean meme coins are dead? Does that mean gaming is dead? Does that mean shit? I don't know.
Well, couldn't you argue? Why do they all have to rally at the beginning of during a bull market, time frame? Can't we have a situation where RWAs just rally throughout the meat of the bull market, like the main part of it? And then you know what? After a couple big games come out in Web3, then those pump. Maybe AI becomes, kind of euphoric again in the
Would you put AI
statement.
Would you put AI into the institutional bucket?
Yeah,
I would.
100%. Who's investing in AI right now? It's not
companies.
Yes, big ass companies, exactly. And so at some point, people are going to see value in the crypto version. Let one crypto company become a household name in AI. Watch what happens to every single AI project, right? But like, how everyone's like, oh yeah, use ChatGPT, use Bard, use, this, that. Imagine if they're like, hey man, guys, y'all need to use Render. You need to use ASI. This ICP, it's a crypto token or whatever. They got this badass AI thing. BitTensor or Kosh. Like if one of these start becoming mainstream names that just everyday individuals that have no exposure to crypto are using, like they're just like going on their phone or they're going on their computer and using AI services that are in crypto, everything in crypto is going to absolutely move at that point.
But that's also institutional money.
Yeah,
for the most part.
100%.
I mean, you still have a subset of retail that maybe has some exposure in the crypto space, maybe already has some money in the like the overall crypto market ecosystem, and they can start moving some of those funds around. But after the Libra meme coin, I think that wiped out a lot of money, and I think that put a bad taste in people's mouths. And so we need fresh capital. We need a catalyst. And I'm telling you guys, once this whole tariff overhang is done, Bitcoin is going to melt faces, and then you'll start seeing the trickle down into altcoins, but it won't be every altcoin. So reevaluate your portfolios. We've been talking about this for the last 3 months. When we were chopping sideways and prices were boring, I was telling people on the morning show and on the trading show, need to reevaluate your portfolios. Where's the trend going? The trend is obviously going towards institutional money coming in. Where is that money going to land? That is what you want to have exposure to. And so I hope you guys did that. Also, I did a tier ranking video for Patreon members only. So if you're part of the Patreon insiders, it's only $20 a month. We reduced the price. You're going to get all the alpha in there, the crypto calls, the write-ups, macro, tier ranking videos. I did one for AI coins, the top 12 yesterday. So if you're a part of our Patreon, make sure to go watch that video. I kind of give my reasoning for why I ranked them where I did. But you got to stay vigilant. You got to stay at, maybe if you can't stay ahead of the market trend, try to stay with the market trend. And we'll help you do that. You watch our show, we'll pick up on trends. We got connections and resources in the space. We get an idea of where the market's going. And we're telling you the market is going institution. I've been talking about stablecoin yield. You look at the top stablecoin protocols prior to today and yesterday's dump, they were all rallying. Curve was rallying. Convex was rallying. MakerDAO was rallying. ASF was rallying. And we're telling you, RWAs, you need to have exposure. If you don't like Ethereum, fine. Get some Ondo. Get some Avalanche. There's plenty of other projects. So that would be my thing, because as of right now, we can ignore the data and we can say all the alts are going to pump, but numbers are numbers. Numbers don't care about feelings. And the numbers are saying retail is screwed. They have no money to buy groceries. They're picking up second jobs. So follow the trend and try to figure out what's going to happen. And that's kind of where I'm at. Let's take a look at the markets and then we'll get into some news here, right?
All right. So as mentioned, you do got Bitcoin down to $83,700. So when you just take a quick glance at the 24 hours of Bitcoin, we were at 87,000 just less than 24 hours ago, down to 83. Yeah, you look at the 1 week, not quite as dramatic. We just see that we had just really pulled back to where we were at the end of last week. And you look at the 1 month, pretty much sideways. So I wouldn't overreact. I think that just basically that pump that we had has been invalidated. We came up, we played around, we came back. And so now on the 1 year, you can see that
you dropped your kid off at the friend's house and they got chocolate all over their face and got to bring them home and throw them in the shower.
That's right. Now,
so bad at analogies.
You are absolutely terrible.
So bad.
You are.
How can one man be so bad at analogies and his co-host be so good?
That is true.
Very true. Look, I don't got too much ego to know when I'm not good at something, and I ain't good at analogies. I'll leave it at that. But you can make fun of me and laugh. But go ahead.
Congratulations. You earned top honors, and
let's move on.
Applause, Rocco?
No, let's move on.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah. All right. And so let's go into what's down the most, because that's what we want to talk about. Curve. This is down, yes, on the 24 hours, but it's still up on the week. It had a massive rally. I know we've been talking about the impact of stable coins and institutions, and so it's not all doom and gloom here across the board. So there are a few winners. Bonk is still up 6%. Interesting. It is down 12% for the day, but up 6% on the week. And then Polygon,
Polygon. Oh my,
yeah, Polygon.
I am so
gone.
Underwater on my Polygon position.
Yeah,
I bought some at like 90 cents, $1. I should have sold more I sold a little bit at $1.50, like $1.35, $1.40. But I still have about 70% of my position in Polygon. I just do I cut it loose?
This is one of those. This is one of those examples of a project that people buy, and I know several people that have position on Polygon. I have 0 position on Polygon right now. And this is a perfect example of people buying and then saying, you know what, I'm going to wait till it comes back. And it just never does. Right. And same thing with Dash or I guess you could throw Monero in there, even though I think that Monero has more of a potential to break out and not trend further and further away from all-time highs. But I think Polygon is a textbook example of hey, at some point it's okay to cut your losses, right? I know we always say it. Now here's the thing, at some point if you put in, let's just say $5,000, right? And then all of a sudden you're down to $120, it might not even be worth it for you to cash out. You might just be like, you know what? I pretty much have chopped this as a loss. But if you're at $5,000, you see that the trend is not your friend, and the narrative is just not looking good in any way, shape, or form, and you're down to $3,500, you know what? It's better to take that $3,500 when you win it.
Take the tax write-off
when you bought at 5,000, because the best traders out here are ones that are okay taking a loss. Now, why is there a stop loss? Why do you have a stop loss in trading, David?
If something goes against what your thesis was, that you don't lose too much money.
But I mean, even as that
Managing risk.
At the end of the day, you don't want to lose all your money, right?
Correct.
You don't want to get liquidated.
Yeah,
That's why. And so the stop loss triggers, you sell at a loss, right?
Yes.
But it's to protect yourself
From further loss.
From further loss and losing everything.
Total loss.
So if you're not leverage trading and you're buying at $5,000, let's say it's your entry point, and you're down to 3,500, in theory, that is your stop loss selling at 3,500. You know what? I will happily sell at this exact moment for a loss. That's basically where I'm getting at, right? And so,
bro,
the same thesis of a stop loss in trading is the same thesis of selling at a loss in an asset you don't really believe in anymore.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is so bad. Okay, so this is Polygon on the week. Okay, on the week. Really nice setup for a potential break to the upside, but instead we broke below our pattern. This is not good. There's really no precedence below this. Such a shame.
Yeah. I mean, could it bounce back? Yeah. Would I try to nail a bounce back, an entry point? I can't, dude. I can't. And not to mention, you already know I got the disdain for Ethereum and its ecosystem. I don't want to say the full ecosystem, but this...
Where do you think it went wrong for Polygon? You think it was a rebranding? Do you think it was trying to be a Swiss Army knife of crypto? Do you think it was just... My immediate reaction is they try to do too much at once and it confused people. ZK, oh no, we're an aggregator chain. Oh no, we're a layer 1 now. Oh no, we're rebranding. Oh, we're also proof of, we're also a layer 2 solution. And no,
the answer is simple. It's not. It was out of their control. They were taking the crumbs off of Ethereum users, right? If you wanted to launch dApp and it was too expensive and too congested and it was cheaper to launch a Polygon, that's what you did. You needed the throughput. And it wasn't there on Ethereum, but you wanted to stay EVM compatible and you wanted scalability, you did it on there. Now here's the problem. They were taking the crumbs from Ethereum. Ethereum is down, bro. Now you're taking the crumbs from the crumbs. You know, you don't even have a full loaf of bread. You don't even have a slice of bread. You fighting with the pigeons right now, man. You out at the park, you fighting with the pigeons.
Hopefully they're not Mike Tyson's. You know Mike Tyson loves pigeons?
He does, yeah.
You know my buddy, I was like, look, this is when we first started the channel. Like, I really want to get Mike Tyson. He's a local. He's like, send him a bird. I was like, what?
Send him a bird?
He's like, go drop a pigeon off in front of his house. I'm like, what? He's like, he loves pigeons. He sends me videos. I'm like, Jesus.
Dude,
man.
I was at the Las Vegas Athletic Club, a little local gym here. And I was just putting on my shoes, just like this. Like let's go wide. I was just putting on my shoes. Come close. You were like right here. And I literally, I was just like putting on my shoes. I look over and Mike Tyson's right here, I guess. Like Mike Tyson. I'm sitting on the bench with him. I didn't even know. I plopped down right next to him. I didn't even know it was him. And then I look over and then there's the face tattoo. And I'm like, Iron Mike. He's like, what's up?
Hey, man.
Yeah, that's basically it. I didn't want to be like the fanboy. Not to mention, he had a shirt off and I had mine.
He used the pigeon to feed the tiger.
Extremely frail next to him. And so.
Did you ask him about the Jake Paul fight?
Now, this was actually like, I would say probably about 8 years ago. It was it was a while ago. Okay. Yeah, but.
All right. Are we done with the markets?
There's really not anything else. I mean, there's a lot of blood in the streets.
Blood. All right, guys. Bitcoin is seeing a little bit of a rebound. This is on the 1 hour. Again, I want to short $84,100. and set my stop loss at around $84,600 or $84,500. It could be a really nice trade. I'd be looking to take about 50% of my position around 82.6 and then leave the rest down to around 81.5. So that is how I'm playing this current move in Bitcoin. Now, when I go live on my trading show in about, 3 hours? In 3 hours, when I go live on the trading show, we'll see what happens, and I'll kind of keep you guys up to date. But Bitcoin is currently attempting a retest of that 84.1, currently at 83.9. We'll see what the price does. If we can get above, and this ends up being just a blip, we're looking to get back into this range. You have some confluence here. This is on the 1 hour of the bottom end of our range here, our rising channel, and also our support resistance line, which is at 86.5 for BTC. We did get a green dot printed on market side for B, but money flow is still expanding. We did get a crossover on the VWAP as well, and RSI and these Stokes are going up. So we'll see a little bit of momentum. I want to see where volume comes in. This is again on the 1 hour, but we'll go down and work the lower time frames on the PM or on the PM stream. All right. I want to talk about this, and we'll get into some altcoin news. Trading volumes from Sentiment. Trading volume among crypto's 10 largest stable coins has dropped to roughly a quarter of the level we saw in the midst of the bull cycle in early December. Several factors are contributing to this. One, trader fatigue. Following the all-time high top back on January 19th, both institutional and retail traders have increasingly moved capital and taken profits while awaiting new catalysts. Number two, there have been new regulatory announcements in major markets, raising the level of uncertainty and causing traders of all sizes to take more of a hodling approach for the time being. And also the third one, Bitcoin supply on exchanges recently reached a 7-year low, indicating trader contentment with executing less on-chain trading on a daily basis. So people are just pulling their Bitcoin off exchanges. Anything you want to comment on here? I thought it was interesting. We talk about stablecoin liquidity, quarter of the volume. So the way I look at this, the small rallies and pumps we get, great time to short them, honestly, until we see something really fundamentally change. And we're starting to see it, right? You're starting to see. And then here's one. Okay, we talk about fundamentally changing. This is a fundamental changing news. Okay, the FDIC, the regulator of the banks, says that banks can engage in crypto activities without prior approval.
You know what? One thing that kind of stands out to me here is that we're sitting here kind of pouting about.
I'm not pouting.
No, I'm just saying that the crypto ecosystem. Like I'm fine. I told you, like, time to buy. Things are discounted. Like, you know what? Do you want to buy at all-time highs when the markets are rallying? No. And it shows you who has resilience, right? What projects that keep bleeding off and not bouncing back with rallies and just keep trending further and further away from their all-time highs. Obviously, as these keep compounding, it's more and more of an indication like, hey, man, like, pay attention. That's not the one. Like, let's get exposure to the ones that are. But anyways, what we've seen in the past, one thing that stood out to me about the bear market prior to 2021 was that they were building the infrastructure for retail. That 2021 rally would not have happened with Mt. Gox and Bitfinex and all these other old exchanges. They just really weren't buttoned down and ready for massive amount of transactions. They weren't ready for the retail, right?
Can we argue they still aren't?
Well, during that bear market, we got Binance, Coinbase. Binance rose to the top. Coinbase flexed up, got all these new listings. They became kind of the go-to trusted crypto platform for US users. They're now expanding globally. But anyways, you had FTX come out of nowhere, right? And so during that bear market, everything was built. During the downtime, the boring time, 2021. For 2021 bull market, everything was built. Because prior to that, you look back at 2017, there was nothing. You could have never even dreamed of bringing on institutions at that point. No. It was way too early. And so they took this time, they built this land that we play in now, right? They built the playground. the ecosystem, the infrastructure, it was all kind of evolved, right? And it was off the private sector, so it's not like any one person built it, but over time, the market indicated where the best projects were and the best companies and the best exchanges, and those grew and grew. And then when the bull market ran, they were there to provide the liquidity. They were there to provide the transactions. They were there to provide the throughput. They were there to do the onboarding and the offboarding. And I feel like what we're seeing now is exactly that, is a preparation for the most epic bull market in history. Not just in U.S. markets, not just in the stock market, but this is going to be the revolution that changes finance from an analog paper and, arbitrary system of ledgers that are transacted on a electronic payment rail that takes still 3 days to process, and with fees, God knows where, with 5 different middlemen and all kinds of different companies profiting off of your simple movement of money. And so obviously there is a better way of doing it. Blockchain fits that void. It's going to be a transfer of wealth from one to the other, and that will cause a massive bull market. And I think what we're seeing here, when we look at the ETFs, when we look at banks offering stable coins, when we look at the SEC setting up regulation, we look at the United States setting up a reserve for Bitcoin and also having a spot for altcoins, where we talk about, hey, let's use blockchain technology. You have states using blockchain technology. You got China and Russia and even the EU seems to be flipping their stance on crypto. The IMF supposedly looking at Bitcoin. And so what I think you're seeing here is the groundwork is being laid out for the most epic bull market to come. And it would not be.
But I will add a caveat to that. It's not going to be an epic bull market for everything in your portfolio.
No. It's whatever the big boys want. And that's why I asked you to pull that chart up earlier, is because who is RWAs?
Doesn't that make you more bullish on Ethereum? With a 53? Seriously. If not, your logic is flawed.
I will say this. I would feel more comfortable with Ethereum than I would say 99% of other alts. But compared to the rest, compared to Bitcoin, I just don't feel comfortable with it. I think that Bitcoin has so much potential, this bull market, and I see a reverse trend on market adoption, use case utility, total value locked, whatever you want to call it, DeFi users, people building, dApps, whatever you want to call it. It's obviously trending in the wrong direction for Ethereum. Can they right the ship? Sure, it's there. I would not be like floored if all of a sudden ETH broke new all-time high. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I never thought that would happen. No, I feel uncomfortable, and I personally don't want to take a position on Ethereum, and I can give you the long list of reasons why, which I typically do at least 2 or 3 times per week, but we'll save you on that one today. So I just think that what we're doing is the banks are setting up, the banks are taking a position, the countries are taking a position, the states are taking a position. The hedge funds, the money market funds, everyone's putting in their position. They're getting ready. We saw it in 2020, 2019. The big companies, all the VCs were getting ready. Everyone was getting ready. And then they opened up the floodgates. They said, retail, come in here. We have chummed the waters for you. Come in and be slaughtered. And that's what we're probably seeing again. I think that, but now the people that are smart, that don't get in late at the top, that aren't buying, altcoins at all-time highs, deep into 2025, maybe even 2026, those individuals, they're going to be late to the party. That's not you. You, the viewer, you are early. You are here. You are watching. We have 300 people. I did want to give a little love to the chat, though. And then I might get some insight from you guys as well. Let me give you a shout out first, and then I'm going to ask you guys some questions. All right, we got Stephen G, Buckeye DK Milton, John D, Mr. K, Dylan Kirk, JC, Crypto Shark, It Was Me, 007. Also, we got Kalpesh as well. So, to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City crypto. I want to know, do you think we're going to have an epic bull market this summer? Will we see Bitcoin at new all-time highs this summer? Will we see Ethereum at new all-time highs this summer? Is everything going to plan, but just a little later than normal? Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that the bull market is in full swing this summer. Put a 2 in the chat if not today. Bitcoin had its time in the sun, and looks like we're gonna have a boring bull market. Put a 2 in the Put a 2 in the chat.
Put a 2 in the bull market.
Put a 2 in the bull market. So 1 for bull market summer. Put a 2 for bull market snooze fest in the summer. There you go.
I'm just looking at the Bitcoin chart. 84. It's a battle right now at 84K. So we'll see. I expect to spill off from 84K. But there was nice volume coming in on the 3 minutes chart. When we had that initial push up to 84, we saw a little bit of retracement, and then we're kind of attempting to retest again. Market cipher B, you did get a entry signal here as your anchor wave and your trigger wave on the momentum oscillator. And so that one actually would have been decent. You would have gotten at 83.7, 84. Now, pretty minute on the rally, but I want to see what price does here on the lower time frames. This is the 1 minute. See a lot of chop currently. So there's a tug of war happening in real time at 84,000. But I'm leaning short. I'm probably going to be at some point before we stop the show, I will probably have entered into a short position on BTC. All right, let's talk about this. Is this the helpline for gamblers? Yes. Well, what do I do on a 16 when the dealer is showing 7?
You hit, man. You always hit. You hit.
You don't think that's funny? He's gonna do the. You almost had it, Rocco. Oh.
Almost.
All right, let's talk some altcoin news. Grayscale has officially filed for an Avalanche ETF with the NASDAQ. You also have other Avalanche news. Gun by guns, gun. Gun by guns, gun. So the gun token is officially on the Binance launch pool. BNB holders, this one's for you. Farm gun by locking your BNB, FDUSD, and USDC. This is pretty big. We know Off the Grid, very popular game. Gonna bring a lot of eyeballs and users to AVAX.
We saw, what was the can you look what the previous market cap high was for Axie Infinity?
Yeah.
A game played in, realistically, just the Philippines. That's where majority of the users were. A game that was pretty lackluster, not too boring. I mean, it was one of those like cell phone games, right? Looked like Pokemon. $10 billion market cap. Where is it at now?
$4.99.
Yeah, so 20x away from its previous all-time high. It got a $10 billion market cap off the back of simply people playing it. And we have another situation where
I would argue a lot of it too was speculation.
Oh yeah, I mean, but yeah, Smooth Love Potion 2. But it really was because of the game, right? People were playing it. And so $10 billion? That's the market cap?
That was a high. 9.4 specifically.
Rocco, pull up my market. Pull up my mine here. Avalanche is currently at a $8 billion market cap. I don't know if y'all really kind of put together the comparison. If Axie Infinity could get to $10 billion and Avalanche isn't even at $10 billion and it's such a robust ecosystem, I mean, that was off the back of one game that was mildly popular with certain individuals in crypto in certain countries that were very, very niche. And so this game is being played right now across the world, globally.
You know where it's currently ranked on Epic?
It's down. I will say it's not. It's video games basically lose kind of their luster over time. So
not Fortnite. My kids don't want to play every day.
was in most video games.
My daughter's so funny when she plays. She calls the guns with the scopes. She calls them camera guns.
Camera guns.
Yeah. It's like, Dad, I don't have a camera gun. I'm like, what? She's like, this one, and she shows me it's got a scope. I was like, anyway, sorry.
Camera guns.
Yeah.
Gotta let them camera guns.
Were you gonna show something?
I was going to look something up, but your camera gun reference made me forget what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It sucks to lose your train of thought, doesn't it? I want to take a look. I'm just kind of looking at a Nansen real quick. I want to see something here. I'm going to take a look. If we can get some. There we go. AVAX. All right. So, yeah, look at this. So this is Nansen. These are active addresses. You see that large spike?
Yeah.
Holy shit. We went from 28,856 active addresses on March 23rd to 167,000. That is a massive jump. Transaction volume, also a big jump. This is over a 180-day period. And then daily deployments, tokens, contracts, pretty much a nothing burger there.
There is a lot going on Avalanche. I'm telling you.
I think that the price.
I don't know the timing on this thing. I genuinely don't know the timing. But even if you remove gaming, you could make an extremely bullish argument. A prominent figure in RWAs. It is already being used in California for tokenization of car title. They have a seat at the table in the ETF circle, right? They're still a formerly top 10 asset outside the top 10. Down, massive, respected team building there. Big DApp ecosystem. Leader in Web3 gaming. And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I can't give you a timeline, but this is one I feel confident in. And maybe it trends closer and closer away from the all-time highs. And maybe this is another one of my Ethereum, kind of perspectives, but I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So trying to see how many people are playing.
Oh, off the grid.
Yeah.
By the way, are you guys bullish on AVAX? Put a 1 for yes, put a 2 for no. I'm very curious. While Rob's looking that up, I do want to give one more thank you to our channel sponsor. Today's show is also partly brought to you by CAMS Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how CAMS can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com, especially as it comes to networking and cybersecurity. You guys know they've been our longest tenure sponsor on this channel. We love Blue Wire, so big shout out to them. And go visit their website if there's any services you can.
So with the off the grid, I mean, you gotta understand these numbers are pretty good, respectively speaking. So right now you got 450 viewers, 330 viewers, 275 viewers, 275 viewers, 260 viewers.
What does that mean, viewers?
Watching this game live.
Oh, like from one feed or from like multiple?
No, it's just like we're right now live.
Okay, got it.
So they have over 200 viewers watching this game just for this one channel, right? And so you look at something like Call of Duty. It's going to be smaller than Call of Duty, but you can look here. Call of Duty, 50 viewers, 33 viewers. So you can see here. Oh, this is the original Call of Duty. That's why. Modern Warfare 3. No. Anyways, you go ahead. Yeah, so it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm super bullish on AVAX. All right. Let's check in on our incoming SEC chair, Mr. Paul Atkins, testifying in front of Congress.
Since 2017, I've led industry efforts to develop best practices for the digital asset industry. I've seen how ambiguous and non-existent regulation of digital assets create uncertainty in the market and inhibit innovation. A top priority of my chairmanship will be to work with my fellow commissioners in Congress to provide a firm regulatory foundation for digital assets through a rational, coherent, and principled approach. So this is a pivotal moment for our economy. Entrepreneurs, businesses, and individuals here at home and across the globe are eager to invest in America now that President Trump is at the helm. Yet the current regulatory environment for our financial system inhibits investment and often punishes success. Unclear, overly politicized, complicated and burdensome regulations are stifling capital formation, while American investors are flooded with disclosures that do the opposite of helping them understand the true risks of an investment. It is time to reset priorities and return common sense to the SEC. I'm eager to get to work for American markets and investors. Should I be confirmed, my goal will be to ensure that the United States is the best and most secure place in the world to do business.
What a change of tone from what we've had the last 4 years. And speaking of change of tones, we'd love to change her tone, but unfortunately she beat John Deaton, damn it. This is everyone's favorite senator.
Mr. Atkins has spent almost his entire career helping billionaire CEOs like Sam Bankman-Fried, who committed one of the biggest financial frauds in U.S. history as the CEO of the failed crypto platform FTX. He's been working with those folks to help them get even richer. In the 6 years that Mr.
Wasn't Gary Gensler meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried? Wasn't Maxine Waters blowing him kisses? Yeah. And wasn't Elizabeth Warren actively helping Gary Gensler answer questions to her and the Democrats' liking during his congressional hearings? I could have swore that happened, right? Unless I'm like living in some alter world. Pretty crazy. It's only about 20 seconds left of this.
Atkins wasn't making millions of dollars off clients like Sam Bankman-Fried. He was a commissioner at the SEC in the lead up to the 2008 financial crash, when he voted to loosen the reins on big investment banks like Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns. Mr. Atkins has an almost perfect track record. He got pretty much everything wrong in the run-up to the biggest financial crash since the Great Depression. That is not a...
Yeah, because, everyone else saw it coming so good. Anyways, I just thought, we haven't heard from Elizabeth in such a long time. It's important to check on her mental health.
I miss my little boo
It looks
thing
like
over
she's
there.
still mentally retarded. So let's, David Sachs, okay, the czar of crypto and AI to the president. He's telling us everything was leading up to agents and specifically mentioning artificial intelligence. He reposted this that he had up on X in 2023, talking about AI is going to be the biggest wave. And then he tweeted, everything was leading up to agents, biggest wave ever. AI agents are going to make a run back. And so there's going to be a lot of money to make there. I don't know when that's going to happen, but a lot of the ones are going to zero. You'll see the cream of the crop rise to the top and a fresh slew of AI agents with new utility and use cases coming in. Then the next one, you got to think, like, what makes the most sense? What is the most practical? People like convenience. And what can an AI agent do to make someone's life convenient? I think that answer, when that gets solved, you're going to see a big wave of money flow into.
Get an AI agent for analogies. Help you out, bro.
An analogy.
Yeah.
Analogy.
Stop. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there.
Let's talk a little Chainlink. DTCC partners with Chainlink Labs amid a bullish breakout. Can Link reach $30? How about we just get back to 15, guy? The Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC, announced its membership with Chainlink Labs by joining ERC 3643 Association in March of this year. Now, remember, Chainlink has been working with the DTCC on the infrastructure side for quite a while. And just to put in perspective, $2.4 quadrillion in securities are processed by the DTCC every single year. Not a trillion, quadrillion. Okay, so that's a lot of zeros. Now, this partnership, so this Chainlink DTCC on the ERC 3643 from Tokeny served to manage and issue permission tokens while processing assets worth more than $28 billion throughout 180 different jurisdictions. This is so bullish for Chainlink. We want to talk about institutions. They were invited. Sergey was invited to the White House summit, actively working with SWIFT, actively working with DTCC. They're an important piece of the puzzle to everything on chain. And so if you don't have any Chainlink in your portfolio, my friends, that to me, that's a massive oversight. It's a massive L. It's holding up fairly well, $14.11. To me, this is a $1 trillion asset. I'm not saying this year, I'm not saying next year, but if it does what it's on track and on pace to do, $1 trillion plus for Chainlink, and it's got 1 billion tokens. So have some in your portfolio. It might take some time to kind of play out, but either way, there's a lot of money to be made in Chainlink if you have the patience. The most important thing. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up, guys. If you're not following our account on X for our studio, so you guys know we have a brick and mortar studio here in Las Vegas. And so we're always looking to expand our business. And so with the studio, we're building out 3 more sets in the back. Posted a video. I'm going to post another video today. But if you want to keep up to date on everything from the studio, our renovations, what kind of guests we're going to be bringing in, go follow Sin City Podcasts on X. You'll be doing us a favor. Would really, really appreciate it. And also, if you guys know anyone in Las Vegas that is looking for a studio to film content, you refer anyone, we'll kick you back a percentage as a referral fee, benefit everyone. And so, but either way, there's a lot of construction happening. We'll be posting updates pretty much every day. So go follow this. You'll be helping us with our reach, and you'll be staying up to date with everything Sin City. Also, we are in the early stages of planning our party. We'll be doing an invite. And so think about if you're coming to Vegas, if you're interested in coming and hanging out with us. And
For the Bitcoin conference.
yes,
Can we get a conference banner over here?
he just got this banner.
Hey, this is a nice banner. I like this one.
Sorry, Rocco, I would have never.
Hey, Bitcoin 2025. Use our discount code 10% off on your tickets. Why pay full price when you could
Pay
less price?
90% price.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That'd be a lot of fun. If you haven't
I'm
been to a
excited.
conference, make sure you come. You know, the best part is the after parties. You already know it. You go to
Who
the
does-
conference,
who does
it's
better
kinda
parties-
cool, you like hang out, and then you go to the after parties.
Who does better parties in Vegas? You come to Vegas in our hometown. We got a lot of connections here, guy.
And your
Whatever you
boy,
want.
I got my nightclub shirt on right now.
You know what? Actually, you know what we should do? We should create a group, and we should go hit the craps table one night and really put Robin to the test.
77 sevens in a row.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
we'll see what happens.
77 sevens in a row. Absolutely game changer.
Wow, Rocco,
Yeah.
let's get out of here, man. Let us get out of here, man. That's a pretty
Let
cool
me
guy.
see, let me see.
Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Come back in about 2.5 hours for the Trading Live Show. We love you guys. Until next time. Peace.
Ciao a tutti.
Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like bar.